Okay, in this unit, we're going to be talking about order of operations and expressions. So in this first lesson, we're going to talk about simplifying order of operations, an expression in a mathematical sentence. An expression is a mathematical sentence without an equal sign. So anytime we see something that has operations in it and there's not an equal sign, it's going to be an expression. So to simplify means to give a final answer by getting rid of all of our operations. So because we have so many operations, exponents, multiplication, adding, subtraction, division, we have to do them in a specific order. So our first order, or our first piece that we have to use is our parentheses. So P is for parentheses. Parentheses doesn't just mean the symbol with one number inside. Parentheses in this situation is talking about when there's an operation inside. So is there addition? If we go down here, we have addition and we have multiplication. So this is what they're meaning by parentheses. So here's just a very basic 7 plus 4 is inside our parentheses. Obviously, you can add those in your calculator and you're going to get an answer of 11. By adding those two numbers, that's where we are simplifying to get that final answer. On the next one, even though we use P for parentheses, it's really wanting us to look at the grouping symbol. So parentheses is our main one, but whenever there's more than one grouping going on, they have to use different symbols to separate which ones we're looking at. So if you look, we have these brackets that are right here. This brackets clues us in to go inside. Once we're inside, we then have to go to that parenthesis first because that's our whole concept here. So when I simplify this, I'm going to rewrite my brackets. I'm going to simplify 7 plus 4, which technically we did at the top. That is 11. I still have times 2, and I'm going to close my bracket. Now I'm not done because I still have an operation. I still have two numbers that are doing something to each other. So I do need to multiply these. So my final answer here is going to be 22. Now, when we go through this, you're not only going to see parentheses. We're going to keep going down the line. They're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, but we still have to know what to do first, second, third, fourth, fifth, so on and so forth. So our next letter is E, and this stands for exponents. An exponent is that itty-bitty number that is raised on a normal looking number. So my normal looking number is 4, and then I have this itty-bitty 3. That itty-bitty 3 is your exponent. And what an exponent is really telling you is they are telling you to take that number and multiply that number by itself however many times that exponent says. So I took my normal number 4, I'm going to multiply it by itself 3 times because that exponent is a 3. So exponents is just another way to condense a multiplication problem. So when I simplify this, I again have to type in my calculator 4 times 4 times 4. And when I do, it's going to give me an answer of 64. Okay, so now I'm using parentheses and exponents in this next problem. So if I look at this next problem, I now have parentheses. Parentheses is the first thing we do every single time. So before I can apply that exponent, I have to do 7 plus 4 first. Well, we already know what that is. 7 plus 4 was our 11, and then we still have that squared. I now have to take my 11, and I have to multiply it by itself. I should see 2 of them because that's what the square is telling me. And 11 times 11 is 121. Now, these next 2 boxes are a little different, and you can see the asterisk right underneath these. So let's just go ahead and label what they actually, our letters actually mean. My M is multiply, and my D is divide. Okay, so if you look at the asterisk, it says these 2 operations have to be completed left to right. So it does not matter what comes first, multiplication or division, division or multiplication. You have to go left to right like you're reading a book. So if I look at this first one, it has multiplication and division on it. I'm going to start right here on the left-hand side. And I'm going to do 7 times 4 first because that's the first thing that we see. When I do that, 7 times 4 is 28. I am then going to still divide it by 2. And when I divide that number by 2, it's going to give me my answer of 14. Now, if you look at my next problem, I still have multiplication and division, but this time the division is first because we're going left to right, so I have to complete that first. So 8 divided by 4 is 2, and then we have that multiplication of 6. 2 times 6 is 12. I told you guys that was going to get more and more difficult. So if you look at the next one, I am bringing back parentheses and exponents, and there's multiplication and division in here. So the very first thing I have to do is whatever's inside that parenthesis. So I have 8 divided by 4, which is 2. I still have a cubed, that 3, and then there's a times 7. I have no more parentheses, so now I'm going to go to exponents. I have an exponent right here. And we can type this in our calculator. I'm going to show you how. When we type exponents in our calculator, we're going to type in that big number first. So there's a 2. This little roof, or I call it a caret, is telling you that you can use any exponent out there. And we're going to use a 3. And I'm going to hit enter. So 2 to the third power is 8. And we're still going to multiply by 7. Now I can say 8 times 7 in my calculator, and it gives me 56 as an answer. For my last box, we have addition, and we have subtraction. Again, if you look at that asterisk, it says these two operations have to be completed from left to right, like we really read a book. So you're saying the exact same numbers, exact same signs, just like we did. So if I look at this one, since adding is first, I have to add. There's that 7 plus 4 again. 7 plus 4 was 11. And we're going to subtract 2. 11 minus 2 gives us a final answer of 9. Now in this next one, there's subtraction first. So I have to do 8 minus 4 first. 8 minus 4 is 4. I still have a plus 6. And when I add those two together, I get 10. Now in this last one, I went through all of them. I brought back parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, adding, and subtracting. I told you these are going to get longer and longer. So here we go. I have to go back to my parentheses first. So everything else is going to stay the same. 7 plus 4 times your parenthesis and your squared. The only thing that's going to change is what's inside. 5 minus 2 is a 3. Yes, I have a parenthesis, but there's only a number in it. There's no operation. So technically I'm done with parentheses. I'm moving on to exponents. So now I have to do this piece right here. So my 7 plus 4 times is going to stay the same. 3 squared, 3 times 3 is 9. I'm done with exponents. Now I have to multiply or divide or both. If I look, I only have multiplication. So my 7 plus stays the same. I have 4 times 9, which is 36. And then finally I can add 36 plus 7 is 45.